December 2025. Satellites spot a 140 square kilometer heat anomaly rising beneath Antarctica's Marie Byrd Land. It emits enough power for almost 1 million people, yet the treaty says no military base should exist here. Official records do not mention this $300 billion secret, but classified budget gaps and unexplained U.S. flights tell another story: what requires city-level energy under miles of ice. In the next few minutes, you will see the evidence that redefines who really controls Earth's last untouched frontier. In the aftermath of World War II, the United States launched its most ambitious polar expedition. Operation High Jump set sail for Antarctica in August 1946, assembling a fleet of 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and 4,700 military and civilian personnel. Officially, the mission aimed to test equipment and train crews in extreme conditions, but the scale dwarfed any previous Antarctic venture. The convoy established a temporary base, mapped hundreds of miles of ice, and conducted dozens of flights over the frozen continent. Yet the operation ended months ahead of schedule, citing harsh weather and logistical strain. Unverified accounts would later claim encounters with mysterious phenomena and hidden enemy outposts, fueling decades of speculation. While the Navy's own records document only routine accidents and 9 casualties, the sheer force committed to this remote frontier left a legacy of secrecy and suspicion. Operation High Jump became a blueprint for how the United States would approach Antarctica, by projecting power, controlling information, and leaving the true motives open to question. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959 and entering into force in 1961, set out to ban military activity, nuclear tests, and mineral mining across the continent. Yet the language of Article 1 draws a careful line. While it prohibits permanent military bases and weapons, it explicitly allows military personnel and equipment to support scientific research. This clause means uniformed service members operate alongside scientists, running logistics, flying aircraft, and maintaining infrastructure. Equipment that would raise questions elsewhere, cargo planes, fuel depots, communications arrays, are justified as essential for research support. Inspections are allowed by the treaty, but they are infrequent and rely on prior notice, with no mechanism for surprise checks or satellite monitoring. These legal ambiguities mean the difference between a research station and a military outpost can blur, especially when the same runways, ships, and supply chains serve both. The result is a continent where demilitarization exists on paper, but the practical tools of military logistics are never far away. Operation Deep Freeze, launched in 1955, established the backbone of America's Antarctic logistics. Each year, up to 3,000 support staff cycle through McMurdo Station and its outposts, moving everything from scientific equipment to heavy machinery across the most inhospitable terrain on Earth. The coastal hub at McMurdo, built and maintained with military engineering and transport, handles more than 30% of all Antarctic cargo. Massive C-17 and LC-130 aircraft land on ice runways, offloading supplies that keep research and infrastructure running year-round. Naval cargo ships break through seasonal pack ice to deliver thousands of tons of fuel and construction materials every austral summer. Decades of uninterrupted operations have created a supply chain capable of sustaining large projects, even those far from the public eye. The scale and efficiency of these annual missions prove that, when required, the United States can marshal the resources and manpower to build and maintain installations of any size beneath the polar night. Seismic records from Marie Byrd Land reveal a pattern that stands out from the background noise of shifting ice and volcanic tremors. Between 2014 and 2019, geophysical instruments picked up persistent vibrations deep beneath the surface, centered on a region measuring 140 square kilometers. These signals did not match the signature of natural earthquakes or glacial movement. Instead, the frequency and duration resembled the kind of activity seen during large-scale excavation or tunneling projects elsewhere in the world. After 2019, the vibrations abruptly stopped, as if the work had been completed or paused. Thermal satellite data from the European Space Agency adds another layer. Over several consecutive years, sensors recorded a heat anomaly in the same area, roughly 4 degrees Celsius warmer than the surrounding ice, with a plume pattern that suggests forced ventilation. Calculations based on the anomaly estimate a power output of 1.2 gigawatts, a figure more commonly associated with metropolitan infrastructure than isolated research. No known station in Antarctica comes close to this level of energy use. Flight tracking logs present another puzzle. From 2020 onward, military cargo aircraft, C-17 Globemaster cargo planes, have made 47 documented sorties each year to coordinates near the anomaly. These flights do not appear on public research manifests and avoid established hubs like McMurdo, instead flying direct from New Zealand. On the ground, LC-130 ski-equipped aircraft ferry cargo and personnel on a weekly schedule. But their manifests are sealed. Budget records raise further questions. The National Science Foundation lists an annual Antarctic budget of $450 million. Internal Department of Defense documents reference a classified line item, $12 billion per year, for Arctic and Antarctic contingency operations over the past 5 years. The destination of these funds remains unaccounted for in public reports, leaving a $300 billion gap that official explanations have yet to close. Speculation about the true nature of the Marie Byrd land installation falls into 4 main camps, each grounded in strategic logic but lacking definitive proof. One school of thought sees the site as a hardened command post, a last resort nerve center for national survival. Its isolation and deep ice cover would provide unmatched protection against missile strikes, while the immense power draw could support global communications and data relays, preserving government continuity even in the bleakest circumstances. Another theory points to advanced weapons research. The power requirements and heat patterns, the argument goes, could match experimental platforms such as particle beam accelerators or high-energy lasers. Antarctica's remoteness would offer a natural shield against satellite eavesdropping and international scrutiny, making the site plausible for technologies too sensitive for mainland test ranges. A third hypothesis centers on science, including deep ice core drilling, climate intervention, or biosecurity research into ancient microbes. Some suggest the installation could serve as a vault for genetic material, or as a laboratory for geoengineering, using the unique properties of the Antarctic environment to study or even manipulate global systems. Finally, the idea of an under-ice naval base persists. The vast network of subglacial lakes and rivers beneath the continent could, in theory, conceal submarine operations or provide a hidden transit route between oceans. The ice would mask heat and sound signatures, offering a level of stealth unmatched anywhere else on Earth. Each possibility draws on elements of the available data, but none can be confirmed outright. The truth remains locked beneath nearly 3 kilometers of ice, fueling debate and suspicion in equal measure. Eric Holthaus, a former Navy meteorologist stationed at McMurdo, describes cargo shipments that never appeared on public manifests. Crates were marked for research, but were filled with military-grade electronics and modular steel structures. He recalls enough diesel offloaded in a single season to power a small city. Questions were met with silence, or a firm reminder that the shipments were classified. Dr. Rebecca Martin, a polar geophysicist, dismisses the notion of anything unnatural. She points to the 138 volcanoes mapped beneath Marie Byrd land, and argues that persistent heat signatures are best explained by volcanic plumes, not hidden industry. Meanwhile, Dr. Klaus Dodds, a geopolitical analyst, sees a different contest unfolding. He warns that Antarctica's ice conceals more than just scientific secrets. With $50 trillion in untapped minerals and fresh water drawing the world's superpowers into a new era of rivalry. Each expert holds a piece of the puzzle. None can offer certainty. 3 futures take shape if the anomaly remains unexplained. In the first, the continent becomes a new front in global rivalry. China accelerates its own Antarctic construction, Russia expands its military science outposts, and the treaty's fragile peace gives way to a race for territory and resources. Analysts put the odds of open confrontation at 40% by 2035. In the second scenario, the climate crisis deepens. As sea levels rise and extreme weather spreads, governments activate hidden bunkers, and Antarctica turns into a last refuge for the powerful. By mid-century, fortified enclaves could emerge beneath the ice, sheltering a new elite. This outcome carries a 35% probability. The final possibility is a forced reckoning. Whistleblowers or leaks trigger public outcry, exposing the truth behind the installation. Trust in institutions fractures, or, just as likely, secrecy is accepted as the price of survival. The chance of this revelation event stands at 25%. Antarctica remains the only continent where military activity is officially banned, yet scrutiny fades in its frozen expanse. As global rivals expand their presence before the 2048 treaty deadline, real power in the Polar South may lie not in secrets, but in who controls what the world cannot see. What do you think?